I always believed I was the kind of woman who had her life figured out. My marriage wasn't perfect, but it was stable, predictable, safe. My husband, Rajiv, was a software engineer who spent most of his days behind a laptop, his face illuminated by blue light more than sunlight. We'd been married for 8 years, long enough for passion to become routine, and for routines to feel like distant echoes of something more vibrant that once existed. The first time I saw him, he was trimming the hedges outside my house. Shirt off, earbuds in, completely immersed in his work. The kind of man who knew how to control the world with his hands. His arms were lean and muscular, the kind that made your eyes wander before your mind could catch up. I remember pausing at the kitchen window longer than necessary, my fingers curling tighter around the cup of tea I hadn't touched. His name was Arman. He was hired by the Housing Society for monthly landscaping, but somehow I'd never noticed him until that day. I told myself it was just timing. Coincidence, nothing more. But the way his sweat glistened under the sun, the focused crease in his brows, the way he occasionally glanced at my window as if he felt my gaze, it made something flutter deep in me, a part that had been numb for a long time. The next day he returned, this time for the backyard. I stepped out to water the plants, barefoot, wearing my cotton curdy and no makeup. I hadn't planned anything, but something about the morning felt different, charged. "Good morning, ma'am," he said, his voice deeper than I expected. "Just call me Mira," I replied, attempting a casual smile. He smiled back, and it wasn't a polite, dismissive one. It was warm, lingering. Over the next few weeks, we exchanged more words. Then conversations. He started arriving earlier, sometimes offering to fix things around the garden that weren't his responsibility. He remembered my favorite flower was jasmine. He brought some one day, saying they were growing wild in another yard. "They reminded me of you," he said, handing them over. I blushed, a married woman, blushing. It didn't feel like I was cheating, not yet. It felt like I was remembering something I'd forgotten, how it felt to be desired, not for being a good wife or a responsible adult, but just me, the way I laughed, the way I stood in the sun. One rainy afternoon, everything changed. My husband had gone on a business trip to Pune. The rain had flooded the backyard, and I saw Arman working anyway, drenched, his white shirt plastered to his skin. I went out with an umbrella. "You'll catch a cold," I said, holding the umbrella over him. "I'm all right," he said, but didn't move away. We stood under the umbrella, close, too close. "Why do you always watch me?" he asked. I felt my throat tighten, my breath stuck. "I don't know," I whispered. He leaned in, slowly, cautiously, as if waiting for me to pull away. But I didn't. I couldn't. Our lips met. It wasn't wild. It wasn't rushed. It was deep, soulful, a moment suspended between guilt and hunger. When we pulled back, he looked into my eyes, searching for anger, regret. I gave him neither. That night I didn't sleep. I replayed it again and again. The kiss, the sensation, the truth that I could never unknow. The next day I avoided him. Didn't go near the windows, kept the curtains drawn, but he left a note at my door. "You don't have to say anything," but I meant it, every second of it. The problem was, so did I. Rajiv returned 2 days later. He brought gifts, kissed my forehead, told me how he missed home-cooked food. I smiled, served dinner, listened to his office stories. And yet, I couldn't erase Arman's face from my mind. I began questioning everything, my loyalty, my happiness, my identity as a woman, beyond the labels of wife and daughter-in-law. A week later, I saw Arman again. He didn't approach me, didn't say a word. But as he trimmed the hedge, his eyes found mine once. Just once. It was enough to ignite everything all over again. I finally texted him, "Come after 3 p.m. Rajiv will be gone." When he entered my home, it felt like opening a door I'd always kept shut. We didn't talk much, we didn't need to. He kissed me with a kind of hunger that had no judgment. His hands traced the curves my husband hadn't touched in months. He saw me not just my body, but the desire I'd buried under years of dutiful marriage. But when it was over, I cried. Not out of shame, but fear. What had I become? The days that followed were blurry. Guilt hung like a shadow. I couldn't look Rajiv in the eyes. I started pulling away emotionally. He noticed. "Is something wrong?" he asked one night. I shook my head. Just tired. But the truth was heavier. I had crossed a line, and lines once crossed don't fade, they deepen. Weeks passed. Armand stopped coming. Maybe someone warned him, maybe he saw the fear in my silence. I never texted him again. One afternoon, I confessed to my therapist. She didn't judge me. She simply said, "You need to understand why this happened, not just what happened." And I did, eventually. It wasn't just about Armand. It was about feeling alive again, feeling wanted, seen. It was about the loneliness that seeps into a marriage not from absence, but from presence without connection. I'm still with Rajiv. We're in therapy now. He doesn't know the details, but he knows we almost lost something. I'm trying to rebuild what I broke, piece by piece. But sometimes, when it rains, I still remember that afternoon, and I still question everything. If you've ever felt invisible in your relationship, or if you faced a moment that made you question your identity, know this, you're not alone. We all carry secret storms. What matters is how we rise from them. Share this story if it moved you. Subscribe for more emotional, true life tales told from the heart.